Seni ayyor dugonang meni boshim bir urib qo'ydi. Ko'zimni moshday ochib qo'ydi.
Nazokatga sizni ro'baro qilmaganimda
Bitta yiqilganingizga shunchami opa?
o'zi shu kunda tez-tez yiqilib turardi.
Len, sendan iltimos, oyimga yaxshi qaragan.
Men nima qilyapman?
Oyim qaysarli, lekin unaqa yomon emaslar-yu.
Meni doim yomonlaydilar.
Ha, ishtaman Jahongir nima gap?
Sodiq Turg'unovich.
What if the biggest threat wasn't the truth itself, but the moment it finally reached the wrong person? Just when everyone believes the storm has passed, another one quietly begins to gather, and this time there may be no turning back. Episode 130 opens in complete silence. Farhod stands alone in the courtyard before sunrise, unable to sleep. The conversation with his father keeps replaying in his mind, but another face refuses to leave his thoughts, Maftuna. Even though he is trying to build a future with Nozima, the memories continue to follow him like a shadow. For a brief moment, Farhod remembers the promise he once made, that no matter what happened, he would always protect the people he loved. That promise now feels impossible to keep. Inside the house, Nozima notices that Farhod has become distant again. She tries to convince herself that wedding stress is the reason, but deep inside, she feels something else is pulling him away. She decides not to confront him immediately. Instead, she quietly watches every small change in his behavior. Meanwhile, Matluba struggles to hide her emotions. Seeing Farhod preparing for a new life while constantly being reminded of Maftuna has reopened wounds she thought would never bleed again. She forces herself to stay strong, but every smile she gives feels heavier than the last. Elsewhere, Valia refuses to back down. After consulting with her lawyer, she gathers every message, every phone record, and every possible piece of evidence against Kodir's son. She believes the law is finally on her side, and she has no intention of accepting empty promises anymore. Kodir, however, realizes that the situation is becoming far more dangerous than he expected. For the first time, he begins questioning his own son without anger. "Tell me everything." His son hesitates. The silence says more than words ever could. Kodir finally understands that the accusations may not be fabricated after all. That realization changes everything. At the same time, Hassan's legal case reaches another critical stage. The lawyer informs the family that a witness has unexpectedly agreed to testify. Everyone celebrates the news, but the lawyer's expression remains serious. There is one condition. The witness is afraid. Someone has been threatening him. If he speaks in court, his family could become the next target. Hope suddenly turns into uncertainty again. Across town, Lena notices Afzal acting strangely. He keeps checking his phone, nervously avoiding eye contact. Eventually, she asks him directly, "Who keeps calling you?" Afzal lies, but Lena isn't convinced. She quietly memorizes the number appearing on his screen. Without telling anyone, she decides to investigate it herself. That single decision may expose a secret nobody expected. Meanwhile, another unexpected meeting changes the course of the story. Sadiq accidentally crosses paths with an old business associate who mentions a contract signed years ago, a contract connected to money that mysteriously disappeared. Sadiq freezes. He thought that chapter of his life had ended forever. Apparently, someone else has been keeping records. As night falls, Farhod finally gathers the courage to speak honestly with Nozima. He tells her, "I want to give you happiness, but I'm still fighting battles inside my own heart." Nozima listens quietly. Instead of becoming angry, she gently replies, "I don't need a perfect husband. I only need an honest one." Her words leave Farhod speechless. For the first time in weeks, he begins believing that perhaps healing is still possible. Part 2. The calm before another disaster. The following morning brings unexpected visitors. 2 police officers arrive at Kodir's house. The entire neighborhood watches from outside. Rumors begin spreading within minutes. Nobody knows whether they came to arrest someone or simply deliver official documents. Inside the house, panic grows. Valia waits nearby, convinced justice is finally beginning to work. But before anyone can react, the officers ask for something completely unexpected. They request DNA verification. The entire room falls silent. Even Kodir looks shocked. His son immediately refuses. Valia interprets that refusal as proof of guilt. The argument quickly became louder than anyone expected. Outside, neighbors begin recording everything on their phones. Within hours, everyone in the district is talking about the scandal. Meanwhile, Lena discovers that the mysterious phone number belongs to someone connected to Sadiq's old financial dealings. Curious, she secretly follows Afzal after work. She watches him enter a small cafe where he meets an unknown man carrying a sealed envelope. Money changes hands. Afzal walks away looking nervous. Lena secretly photographs the meeting. She has no idea that someone else is watching her from across the street. Elsewhere, Hassan receives heartbreaking news.
The witness who had agreed to testify suddenly disappears. His phone is switched off. Nobody can find him. The lawyer fears the worst. Without the witness, Hassan's chance of freedom becomes dangerously uncertain once again. Matluba senses that everything around her is beginning to collapse. She silently prays that at least Farhod and Nozima's future won't be destroyed by the chaos surrounding everyone else. But fate has another surprise waiting. Late that evening, Nozima discovers a small box hidden inside Farhod's wardrobe. Inside are old photographs, letters, and Maftuna's engagement ring. She carefully closes the box. Tears fill her eyes. She finally understands that Farhod never truly let go of his past. At the exact same moment, Farhod receives an anonymous text message. It contains only one sentence. If you want the truth about Maftuna's final days, come alone. His heart stops. He looks around. No sender, no explanation. Only an address. Without telling anyone, Farhod quietly leaves the house. As his car disappears into the darkness, another vehicle begins following him from a distance. The driver remains unseen. And just before the screen fades to black, Farhod reaches the abandoned location, steps out of the car, and hears someone whisper his name from behind. The voice in the darkness. Farhod slowly turns around after hearing his name whispered from the shadows. His heartbeat echoes louder than the wind surrounding the abandoned building. For a few seconds, he sees nothing, until a hooded figure steps into the dim light. "You came alone," the stranger says. Farhod demands answers about Maftuna. Instead of speaking immediately, the stranger hands him an old envelope. Inside are several photographs taken just days before Maftuna disappeared. One picture instantly catches Farhod's attention. Maftuna is arguing with a man whose face has been deliberately scratched out. "You've been looking for the wrong truth," the stranger whispers. "Maftuna wasn't running away from you. She was running from someone else." Before Farhod can ask another question, headlights suddenly appear in the distance. The stranger disappears into the darkness, leaving Farhod alone with more questions than answers. Meanwhile, Nozima wakes in the middle of the night and realizes Farhod has not returned home. She remembers the old engagement ring she found hidden inside his wardrobe. Her heart fills with fear. She wonders whether Farhod has gone back to his past instead of moving toward their future. Unable to stay silent, she calls him several times, but his phone remains switched off. Across town, Kechir's family is falling apart. After the confrontation with Valia, his son finally admits that he made a terrible mistake. However, he insists he never intended to abandon Lena or their unborn child. Kechir is furious. "You didn't destroy only your own life," he says. "You destroyed the honor of this entire family." For the first time, even his mother refuses to defend him. Elsewhere, Hassan's lawyer receives unexpected news. The missing witness has been found alive, but he refuses to appear in court. Someone has offered him a large amount of money to disappear until the trial is over. The lawyer immediately suspects that powerful people are interfering with the case. At the same time, Lena secretly meets the investigator handling her complaint. She gives him copies of every message, every photograph, and every recording she has collected. The investigator studies the evidence carefully before saying, "If everything you've given us is authentic, this case is much bigger than you think." Lena leaves the office believing justice is finally within reach. She has no idea that someone else is watching her. Part 2. A dangerous truth begins to surface. The following morning, Farhod returns home exhausted. Nozima says nothing. She simply placed the old engagement ring on the table between them. The silence is unbearable. Farhod finally admits that he cannot erase Maftuna from his memories overnight. "But that doesn't mean I don't want a future with you," he says quietly. Nozima fights back tears. "I don't need a perfect husband. I only need an honest one." Her words leave Farhod speechless. For the first time in weeks, he begins believing that perhaps healing is still possible. Part 2. The calm before another disaster. The following morning brings unexpected visitors. 2 police officers arrive at Kechir's house. The entire neighborhood watches from outside. Rumors begin spreading within minutes. Nobody knows whether they came to arrest someone or simply deliver official documents. Inside the house, panic grows. Valia waits nearby, convinced justice is finally beginning to work. But before anyone can react, the officers ask for something completely unexpected. They request DNA verification. The entire room falls silent. Even Kechir looks shocked.